What's going on? I said I was going to show everything on this one for some weird reason. So when I go to cut the cowls for the exhaust exits, first thing I do is I don't put the mufflers on. You saw that all this time I didn't have the mufflers on. And I'll take and mark a center line on the fuse, and I'll mark that through. I'll put the cowl on. I'll put the cowl on the plane with the screws and everything, and then I'll put a line through the fuse and the cowl. Then I'll take the cowl off, and then I put a piece of foam, or you can use poster board, whatever you got laying around, even a piece of paper, and then I tape that on and I run that mark through. And that gives me orientation later to put that template onto the cowl and have it in the right place. And then I've used this one at least two times before, so the hole's pretty much lined up. This one's a little bit big, so I put a piece of tape on it. And that gets me my starting point. I'll transfer those holes over here on the cowl, start small, and sneak up on it, whittle my way out. So that's a pretty standard way that most everybody does these things. So let's take that off. And then the other thing, since we're talking about everything, and you could see here, the clearance that I have, for the ball link, which is good. And you can see the, what would we call this, restraint, or, anyway, the keeper, or just the mounting of the fuel line to where it can't hit the muffler and get burnt and cause you to dead stick. So that's, all the reasons I do all that stuff. But then there's mounting the mufflers. So mounting the mufflers, I've mounted I've had a lot of engines, man, in 25 years. Used to have a ton of them, and then 20 years ago, and then I have a ton of them in the last couple of years. But so I put them on a lot of ways, with the sealants. Tried letting the sealant sit and stiffen up, before putting the two together. Try putting them together loose, and then let them sit, and then tighten them up. Try getting them hot, tighten them up, then let them cool. Just about anything you can think of. I've tried a variety of sealants, and I've tried using the gaskets with the sealants, and I've tried just using the gaskets alone with no sealants. Just about every way you can do it. And I've had luck with all of them. On twins, singles is always trouble. Twins is always easy. And the big thing that I do that really makes them bomb-proof for me is I use Nordlocks, so wedge washers. You have to get the right size that'll fit down in there, but still get around the 5mm bolt. So, they're pretty thin this way, pretty narrow diameter, their flange. From the 5mm hole in the center, there's not much washer width, around that. So it'll fit in the hole. So you have to order the right ones. And I use those. I'm happy to use any sealant and gaskets, or just gaskets. Like, it all works for me. But what I always do, anyway, is I use a sealant and I use no gasket. And I just use Honda Bond. Just seems a little stickier. But, the other sealants all work too. They've got more expensive, these 700-degree sealants and all this stuff. I think Honda Bond's 600. But yeah, Honda Bond works great for me. It's gray, so you don't see it, so you can be a little more messy. Let's see, it's on there too. And it just seems to work good. But yeah, they all work good. And then I don't coat it and half tighten it and let it sit and then tighten it later. I don't get it hot when I tighten it. I don't coat both sides and let them sit for an hour or 24 hours or any of those things. I slap some Honda Bond on each side, and then I slap it together and tighten it down tight. And that's it. And I can go fly right then. I've done it at the field. I can fly immediately. I won't leak, and the mufflers will never come loose and they'll never leak. Or, I can do it like I just put it on now, and this plane will be ready to mate in a couple hours. I might mate in a couple hours. It'll be fine. So it's pretty much ready to go. So that's what I do on those. But somebody wanted me to do want a specific way for them on their plane, and I'm helping them out, and they go, just do it this way. Yeah, I'm sure I could do it that way, and it won't leak, and it won't come loose. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, this is the everything one, so it wouldn't be everything if I didn't show you how I did the mufflers, and if I didn't show you how I cut the cowl, even though you guys all know how to do this stuff. What's going on? Well, sometimes I say things, and that Joe McBride, he looks at me like I'm crazy. And a while back, sitting there putting in, let's see what angle I can get at here. Putting in a machine bolt, Allen head, and had a square tip. Nothing gonna focus. Yeah, I guess you can more or less see there. That's about as good as it's gonna get, maybe. Yeah, square tip, square drive, and he's putting it in. And this is kind of a little bit of an angle here. Like it's hard to get your hand right up next here to keep this thing straight in line. You get fiberglass all in your fingers. Pretty easy when you're in this spot to end up like having a little tilt. And there's a lot of areas where there only is a little bit of a tilt, So what I said to him was, I said, yeah, you'll strip a lot less machine bolts if you use a ball driver like this. And he looked at me like I was crazy, and then he said, I'll just disagree, and we'll just move along. And we were at the field flying, so I didn't feel like just trying to explain the whole thing. But I'm sure he was thinking that, a ball driver is more likely to strip the head right there. But that rarely happens, and it's easy, to reverse, take off with some pliers or something. But if you strip the threads into the blind nut, that's when it's kind of agony, because you got to change the blind nut, and the blind nut, the wood it's in is all destroyed now, and the whole thing's like a pain. But you will strip much less blind nuts, basically no blind nuts. See, and I got this thing at all kind of angles here, and it won't strip the blind nut. So the machine bolt threads and the blind nut receiver threads, nut threads, are much less likely to get stripped. Somewhere right there, it actually showed up. There we go. With the ball, than with this, clean square drive. Because if there's no ball and it's square, you have to have it perfectly lined up in all directions, for it not to put sideward pressure, and start to strip something. So you guys, I'm sure, know all this stuff, and probably Joe does too. But the way that I stated it to him that day, I go, you'll use a ball driver and you'll strip out less bolts. And he's like, that ain't true, but let me go fly. But it is true. Not the head, but the threads in the blind nut, which are the critical part. You're going to strip out less of them. Actually, probably, for me, I never strip them out with a ball driver. So, little tip for the day that you may or may not need. Okay, out. All right, one more thing. I've tried the scissors, which I use constantly. Use them all the time for clipping off the cable ties, and also the end of the cable tie when you put it on new. And then when it's old like this and you want to change these lines, then I'll clip the cable tie right there too. And I don't want to clip the fuel line, or if it's on some extensions, I don't want to clip the extensions. And I've tried a bunch on Amazon. I like colors. I tried pink ones. You guys know I like pink. Look at here's my battery foam for this plane. It's gonna be pink. And so yeah, my fuel can's pink. And so I've tried pink ones. I've tried all these expensive brands people rave about, all these different ones. A lot of them look really cool, but none of them are very sharp. And when you go to cut a cable tie that's already on like that, it like bends all around. It doesn't even cut it. The Dubro ones, they're not on Amazon, so I can't. Well, they probably are. Everything's on Amazon now, but the Dubro site's pretty easy to get. I've used it plenty of times to buy my stuff off of. I do like doing everything on Amazon, but we are really sidetracking now. These things are sharp. They're always sharp. So I just thought I'd mention that. All right. Okie dokie. I think I just have to bolt on the wheel pants, which is just 2 screws each, and the prop. and she's RTF. Showing everything on this plane. So the only thing, mildly interesting, you guys probably already all do it, is, I hate it when you change batteries, especially at the field, and you go to change them and then the strap falls down and you got to dig it out underneath to get it. So I use so much sticky foam, sticky Velcro. So underneath I've stuck this Velcro on, and that way it won't fall off. It's not going to fall off. So when you get ready, so you can even do it with one hand. When you change your batteries at the field or in the garage, that thing won't fall down in there and you got to struggle to try to retrieve it. The other thing I do all the time, I just do everything with Velcro. So I put the hook, stick it down the surface because it's, sticky Velcro, and then I put the loop around the extensions, and I put a cable tie. And then after I cut it with my Dubra cutters, then I run the little head under so it look pretty. And then with the antennas, I take and put them on a piece of foam. So that's hook Velcro right there, and then above the hook Velcro is loop, so the furry one, and then there's that's stuck to a piece of 1/4 inch foam, this kind of foam, and then that's got the hook Velcro, and then the loop Velcro, or anyway, the furry Velcro goes around the antenna, and then that's all done on a cable tie. So what that does is it gets it about 3/8 of an inch from the fiberglass skin that's on the plywood, which is not carbon fiber and everything, but still, just at a general principle, that gets that 3/8 of an inch up on that antenna. So there's a 3/8 of an inch gap between the surface and the antenna. That's how I do that. And a lot of them, I don't put a cable tie on. I just put a couple on there, and they never fall off. It's really hard to get it off. You got sticky Velcro underneath the eye back, and then you could definitely, wrap with nylon, all this stuff to protect it, but I just put some sticky furry foam right there. Called it good. Got the eye back on there. Got my standard fail-safe switch going to my SmartFly, which probably not a lot of you guys use, but who knows? Maybe I'll switch to FreeSky one of these days. Do they have power safe receivers, so you don't need a power expander? Or do they still need a power expander? I don't even know. That's kind of it. So pretty done. Ooh, yeah, I got my sick graphics on it. Since it's yellow, I went with the High-Tech in all red, no black swoosh. And I made it really big and with a black border on it. And that way, you could really see that wing now. If it tries to silhouette in the sun or something, you can find that wing. And then I went back to my big Dubro on the turtle deck. Because, man, look at that contrast and how that pops. Because that silver silhouettes for me, and the yellow kind of loses it in the sky. So I got the silhouetting sky plane. But, yeah, I figured these graphics would really help. And then I got a big red skull and crossbones, which I'm either going to throw on the other wing, or I might throw it on the cowl. Nice big bright red. And then lastly, see if I can do this without breaking something. I got bear with me. I got these in fuchsia, and I would have gone fuchsia on these two, but I thought the red might really pop, which it really does, even more than the fuchsia, because I'm just looking to see the plane. But this is the color I love, not pink and not magenta, for heaven's sake. Fuchsia. So yeah, I got my pilot label, got my SmartFly label in red, which matches my Dubro. Yeah, so this thing, I can bolt on my wheel pants. I don't even have to, but there they are. It's just 2 screws, so I will put them on. And then bolt on my prop, which is already pre-drilled, ready to go. So theoretically, this is still Saturday morning. Take a nap. Go maiden this afternoon with Chris. Chris is definitely maidening his Extreme Flight 104-inch extra NG today at like 2 o'clock. So theoretically, I could get this one up too. We'll see. If not, probably tomorrow. Okay, out. Okie dokie. It's all done. Wheel pants and spinner and prop. That's everything. It's all ready to go. Nothing to talk about with the wheel pants. With the spinner, not the spinner so much, but with the prop, I always use Nordlocks. I use Nordlocks like anywhere. With reed blocks, car block assembly, and engine mounting bolts, and yeah, definitely the prop bolts and the mufflers. Yeah, use them a lot of places. And then your prop bolts will never come loose. I guarantee. Ain't going nowhere. So yeah, she all dialed. I think I'm not going to put the skull and crossbone on that pretty cowl. I think I'm going to throw it on the other wing. And yeah, I'm going to do that right now. And then off for a nap. And then yeah, maybe take this up today. All right, out.